So someone will ask, who's that? Okay, folks, so my name's Nicholas, and I'm on the organising committee, and this has been something that I've been looking forward to for a long time. We wanted, as a conference, to celebrate a decade of PyCon UK. The very first PyCon UK was in 2007. And we also wanted to do so in a way that remembers John Pinner, the founder of PyCon UK, who lost his fight with cancer in 2015. I first met John when I attended his free beginner Python course at the very first PyCon UK. And it soon became clear that John was a bit of a force of nature. He trained beginners like me, he chaired sessions, gave a talk, solved problems at the help desk, and he even made cups of tea at the break. He was everywhere. And this was in addition to the onerous task of founding and organising our national conference for Python programmers. Most significantly, all this work was voluntary. And through his energy, enthusiasm, and drive, he created a place for our community to come together in a collaborative, cooperative, chaotic even, cacophony of code. There we go, I said it right. As John was to say in 2013, channeling Abraham Lincoln, so that's 2007, 10 years ago, he said, our conference was of the community, by the community, and for the community. So the awards that we're going to hand out today are to recognise those in our community who volunteer their time and effort to make it the welcoming, diverse and interesting place that it is, just like John did. I want you to be very clear that it takes a huge amount of time and effort to bring a community such as ours together. Many give freely of their time for others through mentorship, teaching, or simply answering questions online. Others write documentation, create resources, and author tutorials for our community. And it means our UK Python community is a wonderful place to be. It's an accessible language that empowers people to grow, explore, and take control of their digital world. And I hope you agree with us that this is generally a good thing, TM. However, there can be a cost. I've seen many of my friends burn out after volunteering for this community. Volunteering is often a thankless task. More worryingly, some in our community treat those who volunteer with an air of entitlement that assumes such volunteers owe them service, some sort of on-call support, or demand that people should change their voluntary efforts to fit their own inflexible worldview. And I want to make this clear, this is a toxic attitude that destroys our community. It makes it a demanding and unfriendly place. It's demoralizing and draining for those on the receiving end, and it shows a complete lack of respect for others. But there is a remedy, happily, and the remedy is to acknowledge, celebrate, and thank people for their contributions. People who feel appreciated have momentum to continue to contribute, and in the context of a community of volunteers, this is the antidote to burnout. So we asked you, Python UK community, to nominate individuals you thought deserved recognition for their voluntary efforts. Some numbers for you. We had almost 100 separate nominations from 50 members of our community, 50 of you, for around 50 separate nominees. Some of you nominated just one person, others nominated many. And the criteria for the award was very simple, and that was to receive at least 3 nominations. In recognition, PyCon UK would give each recipient a specially designed medal. Ha ha ha. And make sure that such people knew that they were appreciated, and that is what we're here to do today. So myself and Peter were the returning officers for this, and I have to say that reading these nominations is by far and away the most lovely thing I've ever had to do for PyCon UK. It's heartwarming that at least 50 people, 50 of you in our community were prepared to take the time to write thoughtful and supportive things about their fellow Pythonistas. So thank you to those of you who made the effort to nominate. And with all this in mind, we have 10 awards to give away today. Okay? And the first recipient is an obvious choice. Okay, so the first recipient is Sheila. Not only was Sheila a core part of the team that organised the first PyCons, but she took on and delivered with great aplomb many aspects of the conference. Front desk, swag bag stuffing, T-shirt sorting, and the partners program spring to mind as highlights. Sheila was, importantly for many, the first person they met at PyCon UK due to her important role at the registration desk. This first contact with PyCon UK sets the tone and feel for the subsequent conference, and Sheila's friendly, no-nonsense, unflappable and friendly welcome instantly showed everybody that PyCon UK was a fun place to be. So it gives me enormous pleasure to invite the current chair of PyCon UK, Peter Inglesby, to give the very first John Pinner Award to Sheila Pinner. Sheila, can you come up, please? I'd now like to invite Sheila just to say a few words about John.
Right, well, I met John 52 years ago. So, seems an age, doesn't it? I was 20 and John was 21. We met at a party. I was a student nurse and John had graduated. He did a double sandwich course at Bristol University in mechanical engineering. He worked at Bristol Siddeley at Parkside, which used to make Armstrong Sidleys. Now, his dad had an Armstrong Siddeley, his mother had an Armstrong Siddeley, his granddad had an Armstrong Siddeley, and he learnt to drive in an Armstrong Siddeley. And we now have about 5 Armstrong Sidleys, and it's the 1,000-year project. It's never got finished, but our son Robert, he has actually taken on the mantle, and he is now in the process of restoring the 1937 all-aluminium body Siddeley Special. And in fact, on the 5th of November, we're at the restoration show, if anybody's around, at Stoneleigh with our car. This is at the restoration show, and then next March we're at the NEC. And we were very much involved with the central area of the Armstrong Siddeley Owners Club. And that's just one hobby that John had. He was also a founder member of the TR3A Club, the Triumph Club. He was an engineer, and apparently when he was at university, he built himself, I used to call it a noddy car, which he was not very pleased about. You got in it, and it was like a noddy car, actually, but he built it himself. He also worked, as I say, at Bristol Siddeley, which was part of Rolls-Royce Aero Engines, and he enjoyed his work there. And then he moved to Solihull to Rover. We were living in Solihull, and that was obviously nearer to where we lived. We had 2 children when we had our first house, then we moved a bit further up the road and we had a 3rd child. So we've got 2 sons and a daughter who are now all in their 40s. And from them we now have 4 grandchildren who luckily all met John before he died. We also had lots of lovely times with the grandchildren. My eldest granddaughter is 25 and the next one, that's from my eldest son. The next one down is 11. Dominic, and in fact he has been to the children's track here, well at Coventry actually, and he enjoyed it very much. And then I've got 2 littler ones, Milo and Autumn, who are 4 and 6. And I should be going to see my daughter in a couple of weeks' time. Unfortunately, they haven't been to anything yet because they're a bit too young, and I don't know whether they're actually into programming. And not yet. They haven't followed suit. But John would be so pleased and proud to know that the conferences are carrying on, because he always thought everything should be inclusive. Everyone should have a good time, learn from people, pass on their knowledge, and this is it. So what I would like to say to everybody is, have a good time, say hello to everyone. I always say a stranger is only a friend that you haven't met yet. And I talk to anybody. I was a nurse and I had to talk to everybody. Sometimes whether I wanted to or not. No, I did. I think people are actually very nice. My cup is always half full. And I think that's what people ought to remember. Some people are shy, some aren't. But make people welcome. Enjoy the show, the conference. Learn from each other. but most importantly, have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 9 more recipients. However, as you'll see, not all the recipients will be getting their medals for various logistical reasons today. But Sheila has very graciously agreed to hand out the awards for the subsequent recipients. So that's what we're going to do now. The first person we'd like to invite up onto the stage is Vince Knight. Vince was nominated for his work organising PyDiff, for his work helping to organise PyCon UK, and for his community-related work on the Axelrod project. As someone said, he is a passionate, helpful, hard-working and inclusive member of the Python community. Congratulations, Vince. Our next recipient is Mrs. Mary Mooney. Mary, come on up. This is for her sustained and key role as treasurer of PyCon UK for many, many years, for having the patience of a saint, and for greeting and helping many thousands of attendees over the years. As somebody put in their nomination, her unfailing, unstinting and uncomplaining support for the conference committee for longer than I have been writing Python. There you go, that's commitment for you. Well done, Mary.
Without Mary, I have to say, the Partners Programme wouldn't have gone very well because I have no sense of direction. So I always follow Mary, but we always had a good time wherever we went.
The next recipient is Mr. Tim Golden. Come on up, Tim. This is for his mentorship and support of Pythonistas of all levels and via helping online. His support for teachers on matters of an educational nature, both here in the education track and generally outside of PyCon UK, and his help at various coding events. One of his friends mentioned that he should be nominated because he was a dojo cat herder, and even more heroically, he should get this award for services to Python on Windows. Well done, Tim. When I checked the badges this morning, I'm not sure that the next recipient is here. She's not answered any of my emails, so who knows what's going to happen. Is Leona here? She is. Leona, come on up. Leona was nominated by quite a few people for her work organising Django Girls in Manchester, and one of them said, I want to nominate Leona for organising the Manchester Django Girls workshop for multiple years now, so that women and girls in the area can benefit from free introductions to web development in Python. Always delivered with a smile was another comment. Well done, Leona. Tony Ibbs, here he is. He was nominated for his long-time work organising and running the Cambridge Python user group. Somebody commented, he's been the heart of the Python community here in Cambridge for quite some time, and frankly, he's an enthusiastic, knowledgeable and friendly guy. He makes Python more fun and interesting than it already is. Well done, Tony. Yeah. Then we have Daniela. Where is Daniela? Daniela was nominated for his hard work helping to organise PyCon UK, for his help and hard work in making PyCon Namibia and Euro DjangoCon happen, and for his work in making our community a safe, welcoming and fun place to be. One of the nominators described that he is also responsible for the inspiring statement on diversity, accessibility and inclusion at PyCon UK, which signals that the Python community in the UK is a welcoming, friendly, tolerant and diverse place to be. Well done, Daniela. Now we get to the sort of logistical mishaps that we inevitably have. So our next recipient is Eleanor Mayola. She is the founder and long-time organizer of PyLadies London. As somebody described, she co-founded PyLadies London 3 years ago and has done some amazing work organizing regular meetups, giving talks and growing the group. It now has over 1,000 members in the capital, providing a safe learning and networking environment for Python enthusiasts of all levels. Unfortunately, this is just like the Oscars. Eleanor can't be with us today, but she sent a video message.
Hi there, fellow Pythonistas. I'm very honored to receive this award today. I've recently moved out of the UK, so I won't be here to receive it in person. During the 4 years, or most of the 4 years that I lived in London, I was an organizer of a meetup group called PyLadies London that I started with Justine Courty and is now very well taken care of by Anna Bellica, Camilla Montonen and Jessica Livers. I found being a meetup organizer quite challenging but very fulfilling, and I'm very glad to have contributed to the community, and I hope it encourages others to do the same. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Cheers. Bye.
We have two final recipients who unfortunately can't be with us today, but they will be with us on Sunday, so we will hand out their medals on Sunday during the morning briefing, and they are Kat Lamin, who is currently doing heroic work in Pi Academy, and Josh Lowe. Let me tell you a little bit about Kat. She was nominated, I'll say more on Sunday, for her work with teachers and encouraging Python in education and organizing Python coding events for teachers. And Josh, get this, his amazing work on EduBlocks, a bridge from blocks-based programming to Python, and his efforts in building a supportive and welcoming community around EduBlocks, and doing this all by the age of 13. We'll meet him on Sunday. So that's the end of the awards. I'd like to ask you to give our recipients a standing ovation, please. It's a lot of embarrassed looking faces. Well done, congratulations. And I think we now have David up for the keynote. Thank you very much.